الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We are still talking about Yusuf alayhi salam, and during the two past weeks we talked about the event when his brothers resorted to him seeking provisions. They didn't recognize him, he recognized them, and he gave them provisions without taking their merchandise. He returned their merchandise. One of the reasons was to encourage them to go there the following year. So during the following year, he insisted that next time you come to me, you should come with your half-brother Benjamin. He really wanted to meet his brother, full brother Benjamin. So he did what he did in order to be reunited with his full brother Benjamin. So the next year they went with Benjamin. It was a very, very arduous work for them to convince their father, but they were able to convince their father to allow them to go with Benjamin. However, their father told prayer, told us that they would return Benjamin and that they wouldn't neglect him the way they neglected Yusuf when they convinced him to take him with them. So the following year, they go with Benjamin with some merchandise. Still, they didn't recognize Yusuf. So Yusuf had prepared for that, had planned for that. Since they were 11, he made each two of them eat together, and Benjamin was alone. He made each two of them sleep together in one room, and Benjamin was alone, so he offered to sleep with Benjamin, and this is what he wanted, to be reunited with Benjamin and to have some privacy with him, discussing a lot of issues. So he made a plan that he would hide something would be hidden in the bags of Benjamin, so that whenever he leaves, someone would announce that the cup of the king was missing, so that they find the cup in Benjamin's bags, and then he retains him. According to the law of the land of Canaan, if you stole from someone, then you would serve that person. But according to the law of Egypt, if you stole someone, then they would beat you up and you pay twice as much the value of what the item you stole. So they tried to convince the high minister to render a judgment according to the law of Canaan, according to the law of Jacob, and this is actually what he wanted, because he wanted to keep Benjamin with him. So when they go back to their father without Benjamin, and before going back, Reuben, their eldest brother, said, I won't go, because you know very well, we had sworn solemn oath that we will bring back our brother Benjamin, and now without him, I won't go back, I will stay. So now, Yaqub was missing 3 children. He was missing Yusuf, Joseph, Benjamin, and Reuben. So when his sons went back to him telling him that Benjamin stole, he didn't believe them, because he knew Benjamin very well. He said, I know him very well, he can't steal. You have plotted something against him. So he couldn't believe them. At the same time, he was very, very sad. Now he was only missing Yusuf, Joseph. Now he misses 3 of his children. So he became so sad that he went blind. So the next time they tried to comfort him, to comfort their father, that, you know, don't be sad, don't be dejected, you'll be ill, you might even die. He told them, I know what you don't know. So he went ahead explaining to them the dream of Yusuf when he saw 11, when he saw 10 stars and the sun and the moon prostrating to him. Then to Yusuf, when Yusuf saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon prostrating to him. So his father Yaqub told him, don't reveal your dream to your brothers. If you reveal it to them out of malice and jealousy, they might harm you. So at this point, after they had left Reuben, Benjamin, and now Yusuf behind in Egypt, he tells them, I have positive feelings. The time will come when I will be reunited with all my sons. So he went on to reveal to them the dream of Yusuf when he saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon, all of them prostrating before him. And he was so positive that he will soon meet with them all together. So, and we did talk about the prophets and messengers, how they were tried and tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the wisdom behind being tested, and how should we react when we are tried and tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So since Yaqub didn't lose hope, he still had hope that he would be reunited with his sons whom he was missing. So now he tells his sons to go and look for Yusuf. No, he didn't lose hope. He was praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and although he was a prophet, he didn't just sit back and relax, just supplicating to Allah, but he had to do something to make sure that he is reunited with his sons. So now he orders his sons to go and look for Yusuf. And before I continue, we have this quote here. Yesterday is not ours to recover, but tomorrow is ours to win or lose. So as we used to say before, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, it's a present. So enjoy your day today and plan with what you have, what you will do tomorrow. So Yaqub didn't lose hope, the past is past, now he wants to benefit from the present, planning on how he will be reunited with his sons. So Yaqub was fully convinced that Yusuf was alive somewhere, so he didn't lose hope. All believers should borrow a leaf. We should imitate. Borrow a leaf from him and stay positive. No matter how many troubles you're going through, you have to stay focused, stay positive, and if you are a believer, this is the time to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He is the only one who can provide for you solutions to your problems. He's the only one who can save you from the problems. So Allah tells us about Yaqub when he was urging his children to go back to Egypt and search for Yusuf and Benjamin. Now the question is, Yaqub is full of hope. The time will come. He will be reunited with his family. And now, 3 of his children are missing. You have Reuben, Benjamin, and Joseph. But when he was urging his children to go back and look for them, he specifically mentioned Yusuf and Benjamin. Why didn't he mention Reuben? There were 3. So he tells them, go back and look for Yusuf and his full brother, alluding to Benjamin. So why didn't he mention Reuben as well? There were 3. Why is he mentioning only 2 of his sons? So he was missing 3 sons. Now he's telling his other sons to go and look for Yusuf and his full brother, who was Benjamin. So why didn't he mention Reuben? Does anyone know the answer?
Maybe Ruby is that Ruby is not missing.
He doesn't miss Reuben? No, he missed him.
No, he missed him, but it's not like...
No, not as much as Yusuf and Benjamin. And yes, sister?
Maybe because he knows that other brothers, they were like envy about him, that they were the most. Because he was the youngest, so maybe that's
Yes, sister?
Then because Reuben chose to stay back.
Yeah, because Reuben chose by himself to stay back. And actually, he was honoring the oath that he had sworn that he and other brothers would bring back Benjamin. They wouldn't neglect him the way they neglected Yusuf. So it was the choice of Reuben, and his father knew that Reuben was alive. But here, first, he didn't know the whereabouts of Yusuf, because his children had told him that a wolf devoured Yusuf. Regarding Benjamin, they told him that he stole, and if someone steals, he will serve someone. He didn't know from whom did he steal, and for how long is he going to stay there. But regarding Reuben, it was his choice to stay there. So he was firm, he was sure that Reuben was somewhere. So this is why he didn't mention him, because he knows Reuben is well aware of what's happening, and by choice he decided to stay there. He isn't suffering. So this is why he mentioned specifically Yusuf and Benjamin. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the order of Yaqub ordering his children to go back to Egypt and look for their brothers. He said, Ya Baniya, يا بني اذهبوا فتحسسوا من يوسف وأخيه ولا تيأسوا من روح الله إنه لا ييأس من روح الله إلا القوم الكافرون. Now my sons, go to Egypt and inquire about Yusuf and his brother, and do not despair of Allah's mercy, for most surely none despairs of Allah's mercy except the disbelievers. Now the word that Yaqub used here is tahassus, fatahassasu. Sometimes it's translated as search for, look for, inquire about. What does it exactly mean? Tahassus, fatahassasu. It has a profound meaning in Arabic. So it comes, for example, from his to feel. So be cautious. Don't mention him in public. Try to look for him secretly without mentioning his name. And if you see any traces of him, you have to follow those traces in order to track where he is. So in other words, Look for him in secrecy. Don't announce it. Don't publicize it. Don't say, we're looking for Yusuf. So maybe people will be jealous of him. Maybe people will know that you're looking for him and then harm him. Or they would hide him more if he's in a nearby city or town. When they hear that people are looking for him, they may take him to a distant area. So this is why we always say that Arabic is very profound. So tahassus is to look for someone, not publicly. It's like you want to feel his presence. In other words, you're tracing his footsteps or any sign that might lead you to where he is without anyone knowing. So you're doing it secretly.
Surely there's a better chance of finding him if it's public, and why would he perceive there would be some harm or threat if they announce publicly when they're trying to find him?
Yeah, that's a very good point. First of all, he knew that Yusuf was handsome, was elegant, was clever, and he knew that he didn't know much about the land where he was, so he was apprehensive. He thought maybe they could harm him, they would be jealous of him, they would keep him to serve them, they would do something bad to him if they knew someone was looking for him. So he had some mixed feelings. At the same time, he was fully aware the time will come when he will be reunited with him. So it's just a precautionary measure. As we said before, prophets and messengers, although they were the best human beings, they are the best human beings, but they would take precautionary measures to be a lesson to us. So although he was a prophet, he did do what he could in order to make sure that Yusuf was safe, and he took all precautionary measures in order to achieve that. So it's a lesson to us.
But there's a danger there that if they do that, the people they inquire to might suspect that they come to kidnap Yusuf.
Yeah, that's another issue.
Yeah.
They might kidnap his other children, and then now he lost one or two. Now he will lose all of them.
Their action might threaten Yusuf.
Yes.
People might try to protect Yusuf.
And Yusuf might hide more. Even Yusuf himself, when he hears that people are looking for him whom he doesn't know, he would hide himself because he would perceive it to be a danger. So he was very, very precautious in doing that. So the translation continues, for most surely none despairs of Allah's mercy except the disbelievers. So not only is he urging his children to go and look for Yusuf and Benjamin, but he's also giving them lessons that you shouldn't despair of the mercy of Allah. Because they would have said, there's no way we could find him, we can't locate him, it's a very big land. What can we do? But he says, do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Do what you can, do the baby steps. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do the job for you if you trust in him. So this means never should we despair of Allah's relief from the sorrow and grief that has touched us with regard to Yusuf and Benjamin's disappearance, because Allah removes hardships and brings relief and glad tidings. And soon will Allah's relief come in that I will be able to see them again. For none despairs of the mercy and relief of Allah except the disbelievers. So he was confident that time will come when he will see them again, but he didn't know when and how. But before that time comes, he wants to take precautionary measures. He doesn't want Yusuf to be harmed. At the same time, he doesn't want his children to be harmed when they go in a foreign land looking for someone. People don't know them. They are strangers. And when people hear that they are looking for someone, so they will be suspected. And all of them, as we said before, they were strong, handsome, elegant. So, and during those times, even nowadays in some societies, they strongly believe in an evil eye. So in some communities, if you praise someone without saying MashaAllah, if something happens to that person, you'll be in trouble, you'll be accused. So off they went to Egypt again, and about their second journey to Egypt, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ قَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ مَسَّنَا وَأَهْلَنَا الضُّرُّ وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَاةٍ فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلَ وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَجْزِي الْمُتَصَدِّقِينَ قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه إذ أنتم جاهلون قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي قد من الله علينا إنه من يتقي ويصبر فإن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين قالوا تالله لقد آثرك الله علينا وإن كنا لخاطئين قال لا تثريب عليكم واليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأتي بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين. So the translation is, so when they returned and entered upon. Now this in Arabic they say دخلوا عليه. When you say دخلوا عليه, it means to enter into someone's house, to enter into someone's presence, to enter into someone's assembly, to enter into someone's court. So in some translations, you might find them just written this word court. So when they entered upon Yusuf's court, or the court of Yusuf. So some people might think he was a judge and sitting in a court. It isn't a court that may. The word court has many connotations, and we will see what's meant by the court here. Or it could mean an assembly or house. So when they entered the court or assembly or the house of Yusuf, they said to him. So before we continue, let's see what's the meaning of the court. It has, of course, a lot of meanings and connotations. So the word court means, among others, the residence or establishment of a sovereign or a similar dignitary. So a sovereign person, a person having high position, a person respected in a society, his house is called a court. It also means a sovereign's formal assembly of counselors and officers. So those people, advisors, who come to advise someone in a high position, they are also called a court. So in this verse, it alludes to the residence of Yusuf alayhi salam, because at the beginning when they went there, he invited them to his house. So they said, "O high minister, famine has stricken us and our families. Thus we have come with merchandise of little worth. Yet give us the full measure of our provisions and be charitable to us. Indeed, Allah rewards charitable people." He said, "Do you know what terrible harm you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant of the grave consequences of your actions?" They said, "Can it truly be that you are indeed Yusuf?" He said, "I am Yusuf, and this is my full brother. Truly Allah has conferred divine favors upon us. For whoever fears Allah and stays patient, then indeed never will Allah waste the reward of those who excel in doing good." They said, "By Allah, very truly Allah has preferred you over us, and we have indeed been sinful." He said, "There is no blame on you this day. May Allah forgive you, for He is the most merciful of the merciful. Go with this shirt of mine and lay it upon my father's face. He will come to me with his sight restored, and bring me your families as well, all of them together." So they entered upon Yusuf. He asked them a lot of questions about his father, about their families, how they were faring, a lot of questions. So they told him that their father was suffering, he was missing him a lot, he had gone blind, and they didn't have enough food, and even they didn't have enough merchandise to come and barter for the provisions that they would get from him. So Yusuf's brothers back in Egypt went to see him for their provisions, requesting him to be kind enough to return to them their brother Benjamin. They explained to him their plight and the misery of their father, as well as the entire family, saying, "O high minister, famine has stricken us and our families." So due to that famine, hardships and troubles have engulfed us from various angles. Yet we've come with merchandise of little worth, which is of inferior quality. As we have no more good silver coins, here is what we brought with us to barter for our provisions. No one would accept them of us except one who forgives and neglects their quality. So we say Yusuf was given provisions, and the neighboring countries or the neighboring land of Egypt during that time was suffering from famine. So they also were suffering from famine where they were. So they had to resort to Yusuf for provisions. But it was not for free. So you had to bring something to get provisions. And last time we talked about the reasons why you had to bring something in order to get provisions. Now I will go back to the verse. Yusuf reminds them, he says, هَلْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ? Do you know what harm you did to Yusuf and his full brother? So why didn't he say, do you know what harm you did to me? Yeah. Why did he say Yusuf? So why doesn't he personalize it? Like Yusuf is someone else, it isn't him. So why did he use that phrase? Or
he's a different person now.
He's a different person now. So he's not the same Yusuf he was before, now he is. The same Yusuf, the same name, but not the same person. Before, he was young, he was weak, they would always intimidate him, They would look down upon him, tease him, but now he's in a high position. So he's not the same Yusuf. What else? Why didn't he personalize it? He says, do you remember what harm you did to Yusuf before?
So
He didn't say to me.
So that to know whether they are speaking the truth.
To know whether they were speaking the truth, because until now they didn't recognize him to see how they would lie. So they would have said, no, we didn't mistreat him, it's a lie. So he wanted to test their sincerity, if they were sincere and if they were honest. So because until now they don't know, he's the same Yusuf. So if they were liars, they would say, no, which Yusuf are you talking about? We don't know Yusuf, we have never dealt with a person called Yusuf. And if they did that, he would know that they were liars. What else?
Maybe you want them to regret their actions.
He wanted
Want
them.
to know if they regret.
So he wanted to know if they regretted what they did to Yusuf. What else? Yes.
Putting them in suspense.
To put them in suspense.
Yeah.
So on top of what you've said, there are some other reasons. So he was implicitly telling them, do you know what you did to one of your youngest brothers when he was young, a person that you were supposed to protect, a person that you were supposed to hold dear to you? You were supposed to protect him and not to plot against him. Now he's strong enough to be safe from you. So he's telling them, the Yusuf that was young, you were supposed to protect him, you were supposed to take care of him. He was one of the youngest. He and Benjamin were the youngest among you, so you neglected him. Why? It was an implicit criticism. Also, it could mean, do you know what was the result of your plotting against Yusuf? So you wanted to get rid of him, you didn't want him to exist at all. At first you wanted to kill him and you decided to leave him in a dry well. You didn't care about what happened to him. So do you know what resulted in your actions? Do you know what happened to him, to Yusuf, whom you wanted to get rid of? It could also mean that Yusuf, the same thing that the brother said, that the Yusuf you are seeing now isn't the Yusuf that you wanted to dispose of. Now the Yusuf in front of you is helping you, is giving you provisions, and you came to him pleading with him to be kind to you, to be charitable to you. So imagine a person whom you wanted to get rid of, whom you thought was not important, you were jealous of, and now this person is the one helping you more than anyone else. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one helping you. So this is a lesson to all of us. You know, I have seen some families, for example, if someone was married to two wives, and one wife dies and she leaves behind children, the children of the dead wife would be mistreated. Little do they know that by the blessings of this child who doesn't have a mother, they would prosper in the future. And in the future, children of this woman are the ones who will help the entire family. Some families plotting to kill, a co-wife plans to kill a son of her co-wife. But in the future, it appears that this son whom she wanted to kill is now supporting all of them. Her children are not useful to her at all. It's this person, the same person whom she wanted to kill, is now supporting the family. So we have to learn lessons from here. So Yusuf alayhi salam is implicitly reprimanding them, is implicitly teaching them that, you know, that Yusuf, your brother, you were supposed to protect him. And because that Yusuf, you don't know, is now the one helping you.
I think it also removes the Yusuf of the now away from the past in the eyes of the brothers.
Yeah.
So there's no sense in appealing to this Yusuf now for clemency or consideration or understanding.
Yeah.
You have to own what happened before.
Yeah.
It's effectively removed itself from the whole scenario.
That's true. Also, he wanted them to save face. He didn't want to embarrass them. Because imagine someone is coming to you, pleading for help, and you're telling him, do you know what you did to me? They would be ashamed and even leave the help and go away. So he didn't want to personalize it because he wanted them to save face. And actually, as believers, we should always give people the chance to save face. It's very bad to embarrass someone, especially in public. And actually, it means to forgive is to forget. So he didn't want to personalize it because he had already forgiven them. But the reason he reminded them, he wanted to teach them. He's a prophet. So he doesn't want to continue with the same mentality. He doesn't want them to continue with the same practices. So he wants them to learn from the actions that they did before. So at the same time, he doesn't want to embarrass them. He doesn't want them to feel bad. So he's not personalizing it. He's saying, do you remember what you did to Yusuf alayhi salam? And actually, this proves to us that prophets and messengers were very, very wise. And you know what? You might be two people asking for the same thing. One of you will be denied it, and another will be given it because of a lot of things. Because of the confidence, honesty, because the person can tell if you're honest according to based on your body language, phrasing of the words, how you phrase the words, being positive. For example, when we talked about the children of Yaqub, when they were sympathizing with him, they tell you, we swear by Allah, you will continue grieving, being sad until you become ill. We said, is this a way of comforting someone? Can you comfort someone by accusing him, by being negative in your speech? So even their way of addressing their father was wrong. So someone is already sad. Someone is already grieved. And now you're blaming him. You will continue in this situation until you become sick or even you will die. No, you have to be positive in advising someone. So their approach was wrong when they were trying to comfort their father. They would have said, this life is full of hardship. Don't worry. Time will come when you will be reunited. We understand your feeling. We know you are a father. All fathers could be. So they would be positive in advising their father. So Yusuf alayhi salam didn't want to embarrass his brothers, so he didn't personalize it. He says, do you remember what you did to Yusuf? And then he says, when you were ignorant. What does it mean? So why did he say, do you remember what harm you did to Yusuf when you were still ignorant? So why did he add that? When you were still ignorant, وَأَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ.
Because he wanted them to feel that they did not know what they were doing.
Beg your pardon?
He didn't want them to feel like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, so
at that time.
Yeah, he's finding an excuse for them. Again, it's a way of them losing faith, saving faith. Now, there is something here that I would like to explain. In Arabic, in literacy, how do we call it in Arabic? If I want to say someone is illiterate, we say jahil, right? In Arabic, we translate it as jahil, illiterate. Who is an illiterate?
The one who doesn't know how to.
A person who doesn't know how to read or write. Now, in Arabic, a person who doesn't know how to read and write is called ummi, not jahil. It's called ummi. Ummi. So this is an illiterate who doesn't know how to read and write. It's called ummi. And ummi also means my mother. So jahil is always wrongly translated as illiterate. The word for illiterate is ummi, who doesn't know how to read and write. Now, jahil, what does it exactly mean in Arabic? For convenience, they say illiterate. But in reality, it could also mean that, but it has a specific meaning.
Not wise or
Yes, Tony?
ignorant.
Ignorant. Yeah, actually, ummi is ignorant. Someone who doesn't know how to read. Okay, you're saying ignorant. So what is ignorance? In English, if we say someone is ignorant, what does it mean?
He doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't know what he's doing. So he might know how to read and write, but he doesn't know what he's doing, right? So he might be a good person, he knows how to read and write, but he might be ignorant of so many aspects. For example, I might be ignorant of your country. I might be ignorant of your culture, although I know how to read and write.
It's a very difficult word to use because I use ignorant in my normal language. But I don't mean to insult anybody. It's not an insulting term. But you didn't know that happened because you were ignorant of it. You know. But I think what the word you're saying that is, it means not necessarily worldly or wise.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually, you are up to the point. Not that when they were not wise. You are up to the point. Yes, Hudayfa?
They have the evidence or proof, but they deny it.
Okay. The real meaning of jahil, someone has beliefs, but his beliefs are wrong. This is why the Prophet ﷺ, before he came, there was jahiliyyah. People had beliefs. They had explanations of everything that was happening to them, but it was wrong. This is why scholars say that it's difficult to deal with a jahil, with an ignorant person, more than dealing with an ummi who doesn't know how to read and write. This person doesn't know anything, so it is like a white sheet of paper. So you can feel it anytime, but a person who has beliefs, he believes that they are right, yet they are wrong, this is a problem. So why jahil? Because they were thinking, you know, our father loves Yusuf more than us, he loves Benjamin more than us, so if we get rid of them, then the love of our father will turn towards us, he will focus on us. So if Yusuf disappears from the scene, if Benjamin disappears from the scene, then our father will love us. The love of Yusuf and Benjamin will automatically come to us. Did it happen? No. So he says jahil. So you had some beliefs, they were wrong beliefs that by getting rid of me, getting rid of Benjamin, so you will earn the love and attention of our father, which they didn't. They made even matters worse. So yes, you have beliefs, but they're not true. They're not right. And actually, as the brother said, you are not wise. What is wisdom in English? If we say someone is wise, what does it mean?
Has knowledge.
He has knowledge. Someone might have knowledge, but is not wise, right? You might be knowledgeable but not wise, and this is one of the problems that we have in the world. We have a lot of knowledgeable people who are not wise. So, yes.
It's a difference between being educated and being intelligent.
Yeah. So being wise is to say what you have to say in a suitable situation, to do what you have to do in a suitable situation, and to make sure the knowledge you have makes a difference in your life. In other words, to apply the knowledge you have in your life. So if you do that, you are wise. Applying the knowledge that you have in your life. So some people have knowledge just for show off. So here Yusuf tells them, you were jahilun, you had some beliefs which were wrong. One of them is that if you get rid of me, then the love of my father will go directly to you. It didn't happen. And you were still young, you didn't know what you were doing. You didn't have any wisdom. So again, Yusuf alayhi salam is trying to find an excuse for them. He doesn't want them to feel bad, to feel embarrassed. He's blaming them at the same time, he's finding an excuse for them. It's like what in some cultures they say, when someone says good words at the same time implicitly blaming you, they say it's like a rat. It bites you when it's puffing on the place so that you don't feel where it bites. So they said, "Oh, High Minister, famine has stricken us, and our families thus will have come with merchandise of little worth, yet give us the full measure of our provisions." We already talked about this. So, what was their merchandise? So they went back to Egypt looking for Yusuf, Benjamin, and Reuben. At the same time, they took some merchandise with them in order to barter for the supplies that they badly needed. So what was the merchandise? Commenting on their merchandise, Ibn Abbas said they took with them ropes and seeds of balm and myrrh. Seeds of balm, these are the seeds of balm, and this is called lemon balm. So these are the seeds of balm. So they took those seeds according to Ibn Abbas, and some ropes and myrrh. So this is the myrrh, for those of you who are not familiar with it. Abdullah ibn al-Harith said they took ghee or cooking fat and wool. So this is the ghee and this is the cooking fat. So they took all this to Yusuf. Abu Salih said what they regarded as merchandise was pine nuts and the terebinth seeds. These are the terebinth seeds, these ones. And actually this is called a terebinth tree. It grows on the Levant. The terebinth tree is a tree or shrub common in the Levant region. The Levant region are the countries that overlook the Mediterranean Sea. All the countries that overlook the Mediterranean Sea are called the Levant. So this tree terebinth is common in those areas. So after presenting their merchandise to him, to Yusuf, they implored him saying, "So please accept that from us and fill for us the full measure of our provisions, moreover be charitable to us." So what did they mean by saying be charitable to us?
They were making fun.
Expecting more.
So they were expecting more. So they have merchandise of little worth, of inferior quality, yet they needed more from him. So they wanted him, or they were imploring him to disregard the value of the merchandise and give them more because they were many. They had big families. One. Number two, what did they mean by saying be charitable to us?
Generous.
Be generous. So give us generously. Other interpretations say that they said be charitable to us to let us take back Benjamin with us. So after giving us the provisions that we badly need, allow us to take back Benjamin because our father is very sad. He's missing him a lot, and because of him and Yusuf, Benjamin has, our father has grown blind. So they said, فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلَ وَتَصَدَّقَ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَجْزِي الْمُتَصَدِّقِينَ. Yet fill for us the full measure of our provisions and be charitable to us. Indeed, Allah rewards those who are charitable. So if you give more, Allah will give you more. There are many opinions about the charity Yusuf's brothers were asking for. As Subi said, the charity would manifest in accepting their merchandise despite its poor quality. Ibn Jurayj said to return to them their half-brother Benjamin. Sa'id ibn Jubayr said, it meant, please do not give us less provisions because of the poor quality of our goods. So give us more, at the same time let us go back with Benjamin. Now Yusuf sympathized with them, with his brothers. He recognized them, he knows they are his brothers, and he had asked them questions about them, their families, and their father, and his father, their father. So he had asked questions, and whatever they told him, he believed it was true. So after seeing their pathetic situation and the goods of poor quality they took to him, he realized how miserable the situation was back home. And probably there was little food for his father. He introduced himself to them and sympathized with them. He told them about the final decree of his Lord, who is also their Lord. So, and actually we'll talk about this. He used the word Rabb. And actually the word Rabb is always translated as Lord. But from the Arabic perspective, it's more profound than Lord. So does anyone know what the word Rabb exactly means? Rabb.
Sustainer, provider,
Creator,
comforter,
cherisher, protector, provider, sustainer, among others. So for example, if you are someone's father, you love them, you take care of them, you provide for them. But there will be a time when you won't be there. Either you've traveled, or you're critically ill, or you are dead, or you don't have the means of providing for them. And you will be asking others to help you provide for your children. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all in all. He does everything for you. He created you. Before creating you, He created for you. He supports you. When you die, He will be with you. In the hereafter, He will be. So He is with you all the time. And this is the real meaning of Rabb, who is always with you. And Rabb means also someone who would discipline someone. So Allah is our discipliner. He will discipline us. And actually disciplining someone comes in different ways. It will come into punishment or trials or guiding that person. So this is why we say Murabbi. The person who disciplines people is Murabbi. So in some cultures, if you are a teacher, you are not a teacher. You are not only a teacher. Your responsibility as well is to bring up the students you are teaching with good manners, with good morals. So you're doing tarbiyah to them. You're bringing them up as men. You're bringing them up as good people. So you take care of them in all aspects of their lives as much as you can. So we say you are murabbi, not only a teacher. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is murabbi, is tarbiyah. He's giving us tarbiyah. Because for example, if you have a teacher, the teacher will give you tarbiyah when you are with him. But when he goes away from you, you don't see him. He doesn't see you. Your father, for example, he will guide you when you see him, when you are with him. When he's absent, there's no one to give you guidance. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in all your situations, is giving you tarbiyah in different ways. So a wise person is the one who will ponder all the situations that happen to you. Ask yourself questions. Evaluate yourself. If anything happens to you, ask why. What have I done wrong? Is there anything I neglected? What should I do? What this and that? Don't just neglect. It's a problem, it will go. And then it's like you didn't learn anything. So from all the situations, we have to learn because this is tarbiyah. We're getting it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yusuf alayhi salam sympathized with his brothers, and he told them, if you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you trust in Him, you are patient, Allah will help you. So he went on to uncover his forehead for them so that they recognize him. He had a birthmark on his forehead, according to some scholars. So he says in this ayah, هَلْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَا فَعَلْتُمْ بِيُوسُفَ وَأَخِيهِ إِذْ أَنْتُمْ جَاهِلُونَ, the verse that we are talking about. Do you know what terrible harm you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant of the grave consequences of your actions? So when Yusuf saw their hardship, and the dire need of supplies, he could no longer hold back his silence. His emotions started flowing, and thus posed the above question. So when they were telling him the misery of his father, when he became blind, they didn't have food, they were suffering, then he says, do you know the harm that you did to Yusuf and his brother that has been the cause of all this, what you're doing, what has happened? So Yusuf alayhi salam was sad, and in order to vent out, he had to ask them this question. And actually he was not expecting an answer from them, but he just wanted them to reflect over what they did before, where they are now, so that when he finally introduces himself, then they will understand that what they did was wrong, and that their thoughts were wrong. A person whom they wanted to kill is now the one helping them. So he wanted them to reflect on that. And this was before he introduced himself to them. So we talked also the importance of venting out. We need friends, for example, to vent out our anger, our stress. Husband and wife, we talked about it, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the relationship between a husband and wife, he says mawadda, and he doesn't say mahabba. Love is general. There is love for your father, your mother, your sister, but mawadda, this is a full package. When you're married to someone, you take care of them. You will love them, you will care about their moods, you will care about them in all aspects. So as we said, for example, if you are a mechanic and your wife is a doctor, and she comes to you, she says, you know, I have been given an assignment to do a research on such and such a disease, why it has spread in such a society. So you can tell her, you know, I'm a mechanic, I don't know anything about medicine. If you are a good husband, you will make baby steps to show that you are concerned about this, and you'll try to help in one way or the other. You can go and ask, you can Google it. The most important thing is to show her that you care about what she's concerned about. So here you are a good husband. Mawadda. Mawadda is telling you, don't let her moods be ruffled. Do help her in order to achieve what she wants. So there are different opinions about the question. Ibn Ishaq said, it was mentioned to me that after they had informed him of their pathetic situation and the plight of their families, he was touched by that, and so he wept, he cried. Therefore, as a means of venting out, he revealed to them the agony he had hitherto concealed in his heart. So, do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother? Then he went on revealing to them the agony that he had gone through. So, as a means of venting, not because he wanted to embarrass them or to feel bad, but just they were his brothers, he wanted to vent out, and this is normal. As Sudi said, after entering his courtyard, they started explaining to him their pathetic situation and the suffering of their father and their families. So he pitied them and then asked, do you know what terrible harm you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant of the grave consequences of your actions? So he wanted them to feel that they are a reason of some of these problems that are happening in the family. For example, their father went blind because of missing Yusuf and Benjamin, and all came from them. Abu Ja'far said, Yusuf's question should be construed as, do you remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you separated between them and plotted against Yusuf when you were ignorant of the grave consequences of your actions? So Yusuf is asking them this question, he's not expecting an answer from them, but he just wants to vent out, and he wants them to reflect on what they did so that they correct themselves. They don't repeat the same mistakes they did in the past. And of course, Yusuf is a righteous person. He knows everything is predetermined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But although we believe that everything is predetermined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we cannot leave a situation to pass without learning from it or without teaching others about it. So the lesson that we give to the people will help them in their future. And when we help someone learn something that will be important to him in his life, we're getting rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So by advising someone, you're getting rewards. It's charity. By helping someone, you're getting rewards. By sharing the experience you have with someone, you're getting rewards. And this is one of the reasons why we say we suffer so that we gain experience. So when you suffer, you have a problem, you look for solutions, eventually Allah helps you to get the solutions. So you will be in position to help someone in the future who will be in the similar situation in which you are today, because when you will be advising him, being a person who was in the same situation before, you will have authority. You will talk to him with authority. And he will trust you because he knows you went through the same problem and you're getting rewards. So you can't say, I suffered a lot, let him suffer. Let him suffer the way I suffered. No, you advise them. Because by advising them, you're getting rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After that rhetorical question, in shock, they asked, قَالُوا أَإِنَّكَ لَأَنْتَ يُوسُف? Can it truly be that you are indeed Yusuf? So after asking them that question, they were doubting. Maybe this is Yusuf. Because no one could know about all that what happened except someone who was there with them. And the person who was missing was Yusuf. So in doubt, they asked, they said, can it truly be that you are indeed Yusuf? So the question comes, didn't they recognize Yusuf before that question?
So earlier we were implying he was referring to himself in the third person.
Yes, there is an answer here. Yeah. Exegetes of the Noble Quran and historians have varying opinions about this. Ibn Ishaq said, Yusuf had hitherto been talking to his half-brothers behind a screen or a curtain. So according to Ibn Ishaq, when Yusuf was talking to them, asking them such questions, he was talking to them behind a curtain. So they were not seeing him. Then after posing the question, do you know what terrible harm you did to Yusuf and his full brother when you were ignorant of the grave consequences of your actions? He uncovered himself and then they recognized him. So he was hiding, he asked them a question and then he appeared to them, he removed the cover, the screen, so they saw him and recognized him.
But he's meeting them in the court, in the courtyard.
Yes.
They're in the court, the ceremonial place like the English court. Not the court, the court you're saying. So he wouldn't be behind the curtain, would he? If he was
it was in Egypt, maybe Egyptians had different courts from the English ones.
No, it could be right actually, you're right. Yeah. It could be that, because he's the dignitary, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the high minister over there.
Confession to priests, you don't see the priest behind you.
Yeah. Al-Bahaq said, Al-Bahaq related from Ibn Abbas that after Yusuf had asked that rhetorical question, he smiled broadly until they saw his incisors shining like pearls. So after asking them the question, then he smiled, he laughed broadly until they saw the incisors. So those of you who are not familiar with the names of the teeth, this is what they call lateral incisor. And this one, central incisor. So when Yusuf smiled, they saw his incisors shining like pearls. So from the incisors, they recognized him because being their brother, they knew him very well. So after seeing those incisors, they likened him to Yusuf and they asked, so they said, this is similar to the incisors of Yusuf. Can it truly be that you are indeed Yusuf? Ata narrated from Ibn Abbas also that Yusuf's brothers did not recognize him until he removed his crown from his head, after which they saw a mole or a birthmark by which they recognized him. All of them could be true, one of them or two, these are just opinions. So due to the fact that they had visited him several times without recognizing him, they were utterly surprised. So here, a person whom they wanted to kill, they hated, they thought if they got rid of him, their father's love would directly turn to them, and they had gone to them for provisions. He gave them provisions, he was so generous to them, and now they discovered this is the same person that we wanted to kill. So they were surprised. So what happened after his brothers had recognized him? قَالَ أَنَا يُوسُف وَهَذَا أَخِي. So translated as, I am Yusuf and this is my full brother Benjamin. So why did he have to tell them, and this is my full brother Benjamin? So introducing himself, it's right, yeah, and this is my full brother Benjamin. Why?
Maybe you want them to know that was the reason why they didn't mind.
So because they were accusing Benjamin of stealing, because they had found his cup in the bag of Benjamin. So when he says, this is my brother, so they would understand maybe it was a plan between Yusuf and Benjamin. Benjamin didn't steal. So again, he's teaching them a lesson. Don't be quick to judge someone. Don't be quick to judge someone, because sometimes we wrongly judge people. And as we said before, in the judiciary system that we have in the world, they have to improve it. So for example, when someone commits a crime, yes, you can punish him, but you have to go to the roots of the causes of the crime. Why did he commit a crime? Because I have heard of some people who are marginalized in some countries. They don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have where to sleep. They commit a crime purposely so that they go to jail where they will get food and shelter. So if you can provide for them shelter and food, you will have saved people from being victims of the crime of these people, which they do it purposely. And actually someone told me that even they can, for example, vandalize someone's car and take themselves to the police because they are street people, they don't have homes. And it's going to rain, it's very extremely cold. So they say, let's commit a crime and go to jail. We'll have good food, we'll have good shelter. So if you don't know about this, you'll be quick to judge. This is a bad man, but circumstances are forcing him to do that. So we shouldn't be quick to judge people. By that he meant, I am Yusuf, the one you had plotted against to get rid of, and this is my full brother whom you have been mistreating. Another opinion maintains that by that he meant, I am Yusuf, the one you are talking about. The one you are talking about, and this is my full brother whom Allah had inspired me to retain and keep with me. Therefore, I didn't send him with you. So he's telling them, remember when they were accusing Benjamin, if he steals, his brother had stolen before. So they were alluding to Yusuf, that Yusuf also stole, and we talked about it. We said Yusuf didn't steal, he crushed some idols, and he was taking food from his father's house, giving to the poor people. So we said saving life is very important. If someone is in a critical situation, you can even steal to save life. So we talked about that. So he's now implicitly telling them that the judgment you passed about Benjamin and me was wrong because I retained him on purpose. And this was guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he wants them to feel bad in themselves for passing quick judgments, accusing people wrongfully. So he went on to tell them thus, truly Allah has conferred divine favors upon us, which means by virtue of our unflinching patience, our obedience and dutifulness to our parents, and due to Allah's intense love and pity for us, we were able to meet finally. So Yusuf and his brother were loyal to their father. They respected their father. They loved their brothers, but their brothers didn't love them, didn't respect their father. So if you follow the right path, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you here on earth even before the hereafter. So again here, he's teaching them a lesson. He's not telling them you're bad people, but he said by virtue of this and that, so that they will think about it. They will judge by themselves. And again, this is a lesson to us. If you want to correct someone's mistake, you don't tell it to him, you don't tell him in his face, especially if there are people that you did this and that. You can use what they call tawriya, equivocation. You can address it like it's a public problem, it's a common problem, and the person will know by himself that he is the one you are intending. But shaming someone isn't allowed in Islam. At least you have to let someone save face. So Yusuf is telling them, by virtue of our unflinching patience, because they were not patient. There were other ways of them earning the love of their father, not eliminating someone. And actually this is a lesson for us. You can't gain good things by eliminating people. You can't succeed by looking down upon others. You can't succeed by putting down others. You might succeed temporarily, but in the future you will lose it. So the Prophet ﷺ says, "Man tawadha'a lillahi rafa." So if you humble yourself for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will raise you high in different ways. And actually in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, فَإِنَّ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ لَا يُنَالُ إِلَّا بِطَاعَتِهِ. So you can't get the favors, blessings and bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except by being obedient to Him. If you are obedient to Allah, you will get what you want. But if you think by mistreating others, getting rid of others, you'll get it all, you're wrong. So he tells them, I am Yusuf to whom you did what you did, and here is my full brother. He subtly reminded them of their jealousy and enmity towards him and his full brother, and said, Allah has been indeed gracious to us after the hardships you inflicted upon us. It was Allah alone who endowed His mercy and kindness upon us. So Yusuf is telling them, this was by the grace of Allah that I'm in this position. This was by the mercy of Allah that we are now reunited, me and my full brother. And actually for those who speak English as their second language, the word grace means, among others, the kindness or help of God. So if someone has help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say this is a grace from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yusuf was helped by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It also means to confer dignity or honor on someone. So the dignity and honor that Yusuf had were from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yusuf is not attributing everything to himself, he says it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's something we learn here. So Yusuf is telling his brothers that whatever we enjoy, this is a grace from Allah. Allah has conferred honor and dignity among us. It's not from me, from my cleverness, it's from Allah. What do we learn from this? Any lessons we learn from this? Yusuf alayhi salam doesn't attribute any success to himself. Everything he attributes it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he wants to show to the people that he's a good person, he's a humble man. So he knows, he acknowledges that everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What else?
Allah is the master.
Allah is the master. So everything we have is from Allah. We ourselves are creatures of Allah. So everything that we have is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you attribute what you have to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to Islam, this is shirk, polytheism, associating partners with Allah. It's called ashirkul khafi, so hidden polytheism. This is when someone helps you, someone mentors you, you become successful, and then you say, if it wasn't for so and so, I wouldn't have been successful. This is not allowed in Islam. So you say, if it wasn't for Allah, then so and so. So you mention Allah first. Because even the so and so you're talking about, who directed him to help you? Who gave him the skills of helping you? Who gave him the ability? Who created him in the first place? So we say Allah first, then that person. So you can take the credit, but you say after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yusuf again is teaching them a lesson here. Although they are his brothers, as a righteous person is teaching them a lesson here that everything has to be attributed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So eventually they recognized him and admitted his excellence over them, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had really chosen him for his bounty and blessings. Bounty, for those of you who speak English as a second language, bounty means, among others, great kindness or willingness to give. Great kindness or willingness to give. So everything we get is from the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is willing to give. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not get tired of you asking of him, begging of him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not get angry of you begging of him. The more you beg of him, the more he becomes happy. And you know, for example, a human being, even though he gives you assurances that whenever you have a problem, call me, you can count on me, I can help you. When you call him twice or three times, you can see a difference in the tone. Or he will start giving you flimsy excuses because he says this is too much. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you beg of him, the more he gives you. Not only that, begging of Allah is an act of worship. Begging of Allah. So don't say, you know, I have asked a lot, I feel shy. No, continue doing that. By begging of him, you are actually worshipping him. So they said, by Allah, Allah has indeed preferred you above us, and so they confessed their misdeeds and sins and said, we have certainly been guilty of sins. So they are now confessing the sins. They saw how they treated Yusuf at the beginning, how he treated them before they recognized him, and he had recognized them. He didn't take revenge. He didn't even remind them of how they mistreated him when he was giving them provisions. At last, this is when he's telling them the truth, and even he's telling them in a way that he doesn't boast over them. If it's another person, he would say, you know, you wanted to kill me, you are wicked, now you see I'm in a high position. He didn't say all that. So even whatever he said, he just wanted to teach them a lesson. It was to their benefit. He only reminded them what they did when they were ignorant, and so there was no reproach for their actions. He said, no reproach will this day be upon you. So I don't blame you, I don't rebuke you, so I have forgiven you. You take it as nothing has happened. So Yusuf also sought forgiveness from Allah for them. So not only did he forgive them, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also to forgive them. And Allah will forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful. Even when asking forgiveness from Allah, he's giving them assurance that Allah is the most merciful of the merciful. Don't lose hope. And actually, in understanding that if you commit a sin and you seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this has a lot of benefits to us and the people we deal with. How do we benefit from that? How do we benefit from the forgiveness of Allah and the forgiveness of those whom we wrong in our community? Does anyone know how? Yes, sister?
Allah will ask, if we are time correctly,
Mhm.
inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is gonna like wipe away our sins, and then we can live even in happy life. So
Yeah, actually, when you repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not only does He forgive you, He turns the sins into rewards. Yeah, but don't say, okay, because Allah turns the sins into rewards, I will commit a lot of sins and then repent. You don't have any assurance that you will be alive even after 1 minute. You might die in the process.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do we know if we are like unlike it? And okay, all of us we do mistakes, okay? So if I did a mistake, then I ask Allah to forgive me. And how do I know if you know, like I haven't forgiven or no?
Okay. Yeah, first of all, if you committed a sin and you want to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you perform ablution, wudu, and you pray 2 rakats. There are 5 conditions that you have to fulfill. 4 are the major ones. The first one is to admit you committed the sin. Number 2, you regret why you committed it. Number 3, you pledge you'll never commit it again. Number 4, if you wronged someone, you sincerely apologize to that person. Number 5, to repent sincerely. Because someone might be having problems and he would be advised, you know, you're suffering from problems because you did a lot of sins, you need to do tawbah. So he is doing tawbah because he wants to get out of this specific problem. In his mind, he will continue sinning after getting out of this problem. So Allah knows what you're planning. So you should be sincere in repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Allah tells us, Ana inda dhanni abdi bi. I will come to your rescue according to how you think of me. So you have to be positive and be reassured, be firm that Allah will forgive you. So this depends on you. So after fulfilling all that, don't entertain any doubts that Allah will not forgive you. Just realize, understand that Allah will forgive you because He tells us, Ana inda dhanni abdi bi. I will come to the rescue of my servant according to how he thinks of me. If you think that I will help you, I will do. If you think that I won't, I won't. So it's very important to maintain a positive attitude and to be firm in your heart that Allah will definitely help you.
It's like you have the feeling in your heart that you know, like okay, I did a mistake and I can't seem to do it. Then you feel in your heart, I think, right? I don't know.
Yeah, actually, it depends on a person. Some people say that they feel comfortable in their hearts. Some of them say they sleep well. Sometimes some of them say that the stress disappears slowly by slowly. So it depends. But all in all, you have to be positive in your heart. You know that because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala does not breach His promises. If He promises, He doesn't break His promise. So I want to demonstrate something. Talal, can you come? So we are talking about the benefits of forgiving others. First, the benefits of Allah's forgiveness and the benefits of forgiving others. For example, Talal is my son. Talal doesn't pray, he doesn't fast, he's always bullying his brothers, he's doing everything wrong. Now, someone advises him to come and apologize to me. He comes and I tell him, Talal, I will never forgive you, go to hell. I tell him that. What will happen? He will say, okay, since my father doesn't want to forgive me, I was just bullying them, I will kill them. So I'm already cursed. I'm an outcast. So let me do it. So by not forgiving him, others will be affected by his crimes. I might be affected by my sins. Okay, let me kill him also. Do you remember a man who had killed 99 people? And then he went to a worshipper and said, you know, I want to repent. The worshiper said, no, 99 people are many, you can't be forgiven. What happened? He killed him. He said, okay, if I'm not forgiven, let me kill you, complete 100. But hey, when he went to a scholar said, no, you will be forgiven. So by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislating forgiveness is saving our lives. Because if someone knows he won't be forgiven, he will continuously commit crimes and people will continue suffering. But when he knows that Allah will forgive, then you're giving this person a hope. And eventually, he will become a reformed person and among the best people in the community. So, I think time has ended, but let me end with this slide. So, how did Yusuf's brothers respond? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about this. He says, قالوا تالله لقد آثرك الله علينا وإن كنا لخاطئين قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين اذهبوا بقميص هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي يأتي بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين. They said, by Allah, very truly Allah has preferred you over us, and we have indeed been sinful. He said, there is no blame on you this day. May Allah forgive you, for He is the most merciful of the merciful. Go with this shirt of mine and lay it upon my father's face. He will come to me with his sight restored. So we'll be talking about this. But again, there is a question here that we'll end with. All the prophets and messengers, whenever they were talking about the future, they would say, Inshallah, if Allah wills. And actually, some people have a misunderstanding of this phrase, Inshallah. Inshallah means, I am willing to do what you want. I really want to do it, but I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Maybe I'm planning tomorrow to come to your office, maybe it will rain. So something might happen beyond my control, which is caused by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, barring me from doing what I'm promising you. So inshallah, if Allah wills, man proposes and God disposes. But in some communities, they have been abusing the word inshallah. So inshallah means I really intend to do it. I'm willing to do it. But I can't promise because I don't know what will happen. Maybe in the morning I will die. Maybe I will be ill. Maybe something which I cannot control will happen. So this is exactly the meaning of inshallah. For example, someone has a meeting. You're going to meet at 6 p.m. and he gets involved in an accident. So this is inshallah. So there are some things which are beyond our control.
But I do think that you say about this abuse, that being uncertain, really, you know this.
Yeah.
But this is, I don't misinterpret it myself, personally. I wouldn't challenge that. I see it as it's meant to be seen. But you still have there's still the abuse in the sense that someone says inshallah that it's going to happen. Inshallah, if God allows it, of course. And then when their actions, they don't do it anyway. It means they're still saying, well, God would have made me.
Yes.
So it's a universal thing.
Yeah, you have to show action, show willingness, show a proof that you are really willing to do it, but something might come which you can't control.
But that person who's made that statement that, oh yeah, tomorrow I'll do it, by book of a monkey, inshallah. This is okay, right?
Yeah.
But they'll say afterwards, they'll convince themselves that if you challenge that non-delivery of that promise, they'll say, well, it's not my fault because it never happened, It's universal.
That's a shallow mindset of looking at things.
Yeah, no, but I always think I always take it sincerely.
Yes. Yeah, because if you say it sincerely from the heart, you will work upon it.
But everybody who says it, I believe, says it sincerely. And when they don't make their own personal effort to fulfill it, they then fall back and say,
the personal effort is very, very important, and we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So you sincerely say it, but prove it.
Yeah.
Work on it.
That's the bit
Show the signs of you being interested in doing it. And the inshallah is like a disclaimer. Yes, I have done my job. What remains is in the hands of Allah. Maybe I will die, maybe I will be ill, maybe I will be involved in an accident, maybe it will rain, I'll be given a holiday, I won't go to work. Yeah, for example, when we didn't come to work, I had promised some people we'll meet in the morning at the Thai center. So I got a message, there's no work today. So I was willing to meet them.
But on that note, because it's a good way to end, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'll see you next week, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you everybody.
Inshallah. So the question is, why didn't Yusuf say inshallah? He just told them, take my shirt, lay it in the face of my father, he will come to me with his sight restored. So he will no longer be blind. But he didn't say inshallah. All the prophets would say inshallah. Sulaiman didn't say inshallah, Allah rebuked him, and you know what happened in his story. So all the prophets would say inshallah, but here, why didn't Yusuf say inshallah?
Because he was dead sure that whatever he is thinking will definitely happen.
He was sure.
Allah will restore his.
Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired him, sent revelation to him, and actually it was an order from Allah that send your shirt to your father, his sight will be restored. So it was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one commanding you, then you don't say inshallah. He has already willed, He has already guided you to do it. So you don't say inshallah. So it will be like repetition. Okay,
Usually people say inshallah when it's not going to happen. Like that's how it is in this part of the world. Like if they are not sure of it and they don't want it, they will say inshallah. I mean, if Allah wishes, okay. We'll do, whatever is going to happen.
That shouldn't be the attitude of a believer.
But usually that is the attitude here in the Gulf, like in this part of the world.
Yeah, and as you said, it's an abuse of the state, which is a very beautiful statement because we can't do anything without the will of Allah.
This is the tawakkul.
So we do what we can and we leave the rest to Allah. So I might will something to happen, but Allah doesn't will it. So I have done my job, the rest is left to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if Allah doesn't will it, there is wisdom in it. So don't blame me if it didn't happen because of the will of Allah. I've done my job. But don't just say it and sit down, relax, sleep, without doing any effort, as the brother was saying. Any other? Yes, Hudayfa?
My question is, like, let's say there is a scenario whereby you're working with someone above you, and he gives you something to do. So, and you tell him, like, inshallah, I'm going to do it for you. But the guy above you is like, what inshallah? We are not from such countries. So what?
Yeah, no, you educate him, explain it to him. Explain it to him in a good way, he will understand you. And explain to him in words and in actions. Prove to him that you will do it, and then show him in action that you will do it and explain to him what it means. Because maybe he's new, that statement is new to him, he doesn't know it. And actually, if he's a non-believer, and if you are not aiming to do da'wah to him, just say it to yourself, secretly in your heart. But if you want him to learn about it, you can say it. You can say inshallah and then explain it to him. He will understand.
So he takes it as a challenge to his ego.
Beg your pardon?
He takes it as a challenge to his ego.
Yeah, even if he does, if you're doing the right thing, you will explain to him, finally he will respect you. Any other questions? Yes.
When you're saying about forgiveness and somebody coming and asking you first, you tell them, get out of here, I don't forgive you. Aren't you actually putting the curse back on yourself for not forgiving someone?
Yeah.
For not talking nice to that person?
Yeah,
When you get angry and mad, you're actually
Yeah, in Islam we highly encourage to forgive. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He always talks about forgiveness is the best. Because if you forgive, you benefit, and the one you forgive benefits. Yeah.
I always notice when I argue with somebody, lately I would try to argue back or just say something and walk away sad. You know, when they say something, I say what I need to say and I walk away from it. And within an hour or two, I get a message, I'm really sorry. They feel bad, but they realize what they've done.
Yes, they do.
So they know that they're wrong.
And actually, if you forgive them and then they send you a message apologizing, they will respect you in their entire life. But if you say something back and then you curse them, they won't respect you.
I try not to answer anymore. When I have arguments, I argue with Miriam when I go, and she doesn't agree with me with something. Later she goes up and she'll feel more about it more than I do, because I know I was right about it. So it's been working better that way for me, actually.
You know, actually, I was discussing with someone from one of the powerful countries. It was one of the powerful Muslim countries. And he was bragging about his country and saying, you know, we're a powerful country, this and that. I said, yeah, it's true, and actually I hope that since you are powerful, you can be a source of protection for the Muslim minorities who are being looked upon. So Muslims are looking at you. So I hope that you use this power to the benefit of the Muslims. So he kept quiet, he didn't say anything. Yes, sister.
I have one question. Brother Hassan, what about, Sufism? Is it Sufism? Sufi?
Okay, what I would say about all these isms, Sufism, Shiism, I would say what was prevalent during the time of the Prophet ﷺ? Did we have Sufism? Did we have Shiism? During the first time of his companions, Abu Bakr, Umar, Ali, did we have all these isms? So we are following the Islam that the Prophet ﷺ taught us. We are following the Islam that his companions are following. Other than that, we are not. And this is why we say we are mainstream Muslims following the way of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions. So to be honest with you, I can give you the history of all other movements. They were political and not religious. So there were political movements in order to get political support. They Islamized them. So to be on the safe side is to follow the Islam that the Prophet taught. That was prevalent during the time of the Prophet and during the time of his companions. Other than that, we don't follow it. We don't follow it.
Is it allowed teachers, they read Quran to the children, and then
Then the Nas, the phrases, phrasing
eating the drums.
Yeah.
Eating the drums?
No, I mean like playing the drums, like if they, because it's fun for me. I found a new job, the new school, and I was like surprised, what's going on here? Like they were reading Quran to the kids, and then then hitting the
And
drums.
what was the purpose of doing that?
I don't know. I was thinking this is they want to teach them Quran.
So maybe you ask them, you ask them if they have dalil. If there is no dalil from the Quran and the Sunnah, then it's innovation. Yeah, you ask them if they have any proof.
No, they were French being going on.
Yeah, you know what we always tell some new Muslims, that be careful. Some people tend to mix between culture and religion. So the cultural practices, they Islamize them. We think this is Islam, yet it's not. So we have to separate between Islam and culture. We do what's Islamic, and what's culture, we leave it to the people of that culture. But if it's cultural and contravenes with the teachings of Islam, then we have to avoid it. So it depends on what it is.
So how about these Naats, these religious songs, like they sing in a melodious voice, praising our Prophet, and especially when they're celebrating his birthday and this, and they have competitions also. Like it's very great in Pakistan and also North India, many of it. That Qawwali, like they're singing praises of our Prophet and Ali Rasulullah. They sing that and in a melodious voice, and people listen to it and they catch it.
Yeah, you know what?
Very famous.
You know what the Prophet said? The Prophet ﷺ said, لا تطروني كما أطرت النصارى نبيهم عيسى. Do not praise me too much the way Christians praise their Prophet Isa until they made him a God. وإنما, but say, if you want me to be happy really, say وإنما أنا عبد الله ورسوله. I'm a servant of Allah and His messenger. Servant of Allah. So we praise the Prophet according to what he taught us, not according to what we invent. And actually it's dangerous, because if we invent something which the Prophet didn't teach us, so we say that his religion wasn't complete. So now we are completing it for him. So instead of getting the words, we might get things. We might say something wrong.
People listen to it and there are competitions and all that now that becomes something.
You know, I visited some countries where they used to have a book called Maulid.
Yeah.
And in that book there are praises of the Prophet.
And they recite this in groups.
And actually some lines were even offensive to Allah. Were offensive to him. Yeah, so I can bring some of them which do not make sense.
Yeah.
So you can't say this about Allah, you can't say
this
this
is still
about
prevalent in India. They read the Maulud in a group, and all those days, like the birth of the Prophet and all that. In those days, they sing and they sing and all get together and it's like, they have an occasion, event like.
Yeah, all the translation.
This is culture.
Yeah, it's there in Pakistan, India.
But again, whatever they sing, you have to scrutinize it, because there are some phrases which are not appropriate.
No, they exalt Muhammad specific.
Now, for example, some of them were saying that the Prophet ﷺ was the one created first, he was created before Adam, he was sent the last, is this and